Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Shaman.
So last time we completed the game, but we technically didn't complete the game because we only have 13 trinkets. So you may ask, if you weren't willing to get the trinkets, fairly before, then why are we trying to do it now? And the answer is that I'm going to cheat. I am not doing it fairly.
Fair enough.
In fact, what I have done, and this is actually inside the game, there is an invincibility cheat. Now, Terry Kavanaugh says, when you activate the cheat, that it was intended for people who are actually, disabled. Like people who have trouble clicking buttons and doing stuff, so that they can enjoy the game as kind of a walking simulator type experience. And just go through it. However, I've decided to exploit that for my own personal gain. And I hope you'll all congratulate me for that.
I mean, cheating outside of, a multiplayer experience? Who the hell cares?
Yeah, really. I mean, the only problem with cheating is if it makes the game less interesting. But my perspective is that watching me fail at these over and over again, and then probably not manage to do it anyway, would not be fun for anybody.
No, it would not.
So instead, we're just going to be invincible. And discover some of the interesting quirks of this game that happen when you are invincible.
Fair enough.
So I would like to point out that although I am cheating in a physical sense, I did not cheat in the sense of looking up where these trinkets are or how to get to them. I did just, look around the whole map for where they were and track them down. And for the most part, this is blind. I'm pretty sure I hadn't located most of the ones when I did this. There's me walking on spikes, just demonstrating that I am in fact immortal now, on top of everything else that Captain Viridian can do. Here's a teleporter we never discovered in the regular game. And so yeah, we're gonna go backwards through where we found Victoria. I guess I should say, it's not that difficult to find stuff here, because you do have a little map that shows you where all of the trinkets are. So roughly you can track them down that way. For instance, I'm seeing there's several screens right of where I am now. So what's weird is we went all the way there and didn't see anything. But you might be noticing something that I didn't notice the first time I came through here. There's space at the top of all of these rooms. So here's what you do. You somehow flip over that thing, and don't get caught back in the middle of this like I just did. That's a weird little glitch, but of course, I kind of expect glitches when I have immortality turned on. The game expects you to die when you hit that spike. So yeah, you have to do a super tight jump, and know that you want to be getting through that really narrow gap in order to get to this area, which is very interesting and strange. It's sort of the Tetris room. And yes, in here we have the purest unobtainium.
The purest unobtainium.
Yeah, I don't know how it could be, more pure than that. Anyhow, you can get into that other part of the spikes, but you cannot actually get through them, so it's not a big thing. You just pass through the rope, or string, or whatever it is, to go back into the main level. Was there actually a movie or something that featured unobtainium? Was that what Avatar was?
I think that was what Avatar was.
What an idiotic concept. Could he not think of a better name, James Cameron? Then again, this is the man who brought us Picasso. He'll never amount to anything.
Oh god, yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, we have nothing more to do in this area. There is, as you can see, a trinket pretty close to here, but it is actually out in the world itself. It is not in the dungeon. And sadly, the closest way I can get to it is by going back to the ship. I would talk to Vitellary a little here, but he's kind of the least interesting member of the team. He's a professor. Like all the other ones have functional names, but I guess he's just researching stuff. Which to me is like, who needs a guy like that around? He's like the Greenpeace volunteer of our group. Anyway, this is an area we were in earlier, where we found that trinket at the beginning of the game. This is also, interestingly enough, a place where you can see this room in here with all of these monitors. Which might pique your interest. I never saw that in the original game because it's surrounded by those spikes, so it's a little complicated to get to. Oh no, I'm wrong. This isn't where a trinket was. This is the entrance to that dimension warping dungeon. The one where we found Vermilion. By the way, I didn't mention this in the main part of that Let's Play, but I do think that all of the dungeons we've gone in are color-coded to the color of the person who we rescued. Which is quite a coincidence, I have to say. By the way, when Viridian looks at a monitor and says, I've already found this, he's not saying he already found the monitor. He's saying that the place on the map that it would reveal has already been explored. So it doesn't need to be revealed on the map. I got a little mixed up about that the first time I saw it. Anyway, here's one that I could easily have gotten without the thing. In fact, as you can see, I didn't get hit there, so no need for invincibility for this. But it's, it's nice security to have it on anyway. I think I do accidentally hit a spike on the way back.
That would be interesting. That is kind of
not.
an interesting challenge. Is give yourself invincibility and then try to never need it.
Yeah, the only problem with that is in this game spikes are so common that I think it would be very easy to run into one and not notice. In which case,
True.
You wouldn't be able to stick to your self-imposed format. And that would be fine by me, but I don't think it would be purely in the spirit of the, self-imposed Let's Play.
One type of easy mode that I kind of get but also kind of resent.
Uh-huh.
I know they did this in MGS5 where if you died enough times, it would ask if you wanted to wear the chicken outfit, which was their easy mode.
Yeah.
You see the problem?
Well, no, I don't actually. I love chicken outfits. I would wear it just for fun. No, it's a twist on the whole, super guide thing, which you may have noticed from Super Mario Galaxy 2 and stuff like that, where if you fail enough times, the game will do it for you. And I don't have any problem with the game making fun of you for not being good enough to beat it, because if you don't like that, then why are you playing the game in the first place, Games are tough for a reason. I don't know. I'm fine with a game that sort of gently pokes fun at you for using easy mode. I like a game where it doesn't poke fun at you for using easy mode. Either way is fine by me.
Now, Bloodborne doesn't have an easy mode, but it does have hunters who will mock you if you die to them.
Yeah, right. But that's not the game mocking you. That's just some asshole doing it. And I fully expect hunters to do that, because they're the biggest pricks in the world, I mean, honestly, that almost makes it more satisfying when you kill them.
True.
Anyway. So yeah, the way you're supposed to do that is that you are supposed to set that platform free, then get through all of these places without dying, get back here, get on the platform, and then back down. Looking at this now, definitely it is not as hard as the really impossible one.
Mm-hmm.
But it is still pretty difficult. It's easily the second most difficult in the game. And in fact, I'm not even entirely sure that my idea of how you get it is correct. Because it seems to me like it resets when you leave the room even if you don't die.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I have no idea how to get that except to cheat. That is one of the downsides of cheating. But there are so many upsides that really I would recommend it to anybody. This is embarrassing. I actually got this trinket in my first run through this game that I didn't record. It's right at the beginning of the game, and it's supposed to be the first one you find, because Viridian mentions, a shiny thing. I should go and get that, because I'm a pack rat.
Fair enough.
But I missed that, so I had to explain it myself instead of the game explaining it. That was my
Why
punishment.
was there a giant cat head?
I don't think that was a cat head. It looked more like a Space Invader. Have you played Space Invaders?
A while ago.
That thing looks uncannily like one of the Space Invaders. But I think I know what you're talking about. Obviously, there's the giant cat head in that room to kill you, for your presumption. No, the reason is to force you to flip onto the tiny area. And to tell you, since it happens early in the game, that it's there. Anyway, I have decided to do the most insulting way of abusing my cheating powers to get this. But in addition, I'm also going to show you all of the crap that you need to do. So yeah, you need to get onto this thing from the bottom, which includes getting past all these things. Make sure you don't go in the right path on the way back down, because that will kill you no matter what you do. So don't take the wrong way through that. Mm-hmm. Head back through here, and all the way down on the other side. I have actually seen someone go all the way through this correctly, and then land on the wrong side of the platform.
Oh,
which has got to be the most controller-snapping frustration you could ever experience. And yet, the game makes it pretty easy to do, because look how close you are to the block when you do that. Mm-hmm. And you have to move over to the left in order to escape the spikes. So if you just kind of brainlessly, after your brain's been pounded into batter by this impossible puzzle, keep going to the left, you will put yourself right where you were at the beginning of all that crap. It's horrible. It is... I would go so far as to say it is more than old school hard. Even old school games would not play with you this much. That's why I gotta, insult Terry Kavanagh by using something that he actually put in his game so that I could use it.
Fair enough.
But in my mind, I'm still winning. Anyway, we're gonna explore some of these areas that we can only get to with our spike invincibility. Head back the wrong way through this area. There's only a few more trinkets left to collect. So we need to head back the same way we went to. Vermilion is not here anymore, which is interesting. I think once you've rescued all the team members, they don't stray from the ship again. Because the reason that they were in areas beside the ship was to lead you to places, and once you have, the locations of all the trinkets unlocked, you really don't need them anymore. So for instance, Vermilion was in one place to tell us... Actually, now that I think about it, Vermilion shows up in many different spots. He's the most useful team member. He'll just point out to you that there are some areas where team members are hiding. He does that at least twice after you rescue him. The funny thing about this game, though, of course, is that it's very non-linear, as I'm sure you've noticed. You can technically rescue your team members in any order you want. Which means that depending on how you do it, it might be more or less useful. So yeah, here's a trinket that we need to get. There's now only one left, and it is in the green area, which is the looping dungeon that we saw earlier, where if you, leave a room through the top, you'll end up at the bottom.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna get there as quickly as possible. Not easy with these, I don't even know what to call them, conveyor belts.
True.
Had a weird little brain fart there for a second. Do you think it's weird that in video games, they have a lot of conveyor belts that serve absolutely no purpose at all? I mean, literally, they just get in your way. They're not in factories, they're not conveying anything. That's bad conveyance. Anywho, to get to the looping dungeon, we are going to go back through this weird maze. Or wait, actually, we can just find this teleporter, which is convenient. So yeah, there are 2 teleporting stations inside the green dungeon, but I'm instead going to go back to the labyrinth. Just to explore. I don't know, there's a few rooms left that I haven't gotten, and I think somewhere in the depths of my psyche, I assumed that you might get something for unlocking the whole map. But you don't. It's actually kind of pointless. Still, this dungeon has some interesting rooms in it. I like that one with just the tons of squares that look bolted on. That's a weird little thing that this game does sometimes, and that I've noticed in other games, is the idea of panels that look functional, but must be decorative because they don't do anything. Anyway, back we go. Enough dilly-dallying. So yeah, we're back in this dungeon. We're gonna end it in one of my favorite personal dungeons. No, I really like this one. Have you played games where they have this kind of looping mechanic?
I don't think so.
I've played at least one before, but I can't remember what it is. Anyway, it goes a lot quicker when we're immortal. You may have remembered there's some sections of this dungeon that are pretty annoying. I call them dungeons, but of course the game doesn't call them anything. I don't know if I should be calling them something else. Maybe it's just my Zelda experience shining through. I mean, what would you call these areas?
I don't know.
Maybe they're like labs. I mean, we have already seen, and we will discover more in a bit, how there were scientists living in this world who discovered, anomalies in geography and dimension. And they were trying to stop this dimension from collapsing too. But what we're going to have to do, actually, in the bonus content is finish their work. So yeah, here is the last trinket we did not get. It's the one with the almost impossible thing. This is either the second or third hardest one in the game. It's not as hard as the one requiring you to go through all those stupid areas, but it is pretty frickin' hard. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here the fun way, I think.
Oh god.
Mostly because now I can go through the spikes. Unfortunately, those spikes are too narrow to get through, so I do have to go the proper way at least a little bit. I should have mentioned Twisty Little Passages. Maybe I already did mention this. We were talking about text adventures earlier. The Twisty Little Passages thing is taken from Zork, one of the classic text adventures, where in a maze that you go to at one point, it says, "You are in a maze of twisty little passages all alike." And it uses the same description for all the rooms. which is annoying.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of weird things like that. My dad has told me a lot about the text adventures he used to play, and some of them were so obtuse. It's nuts.
Yeah, well, that was always a problem with point-and-click adventure games as well.
Yeah, they're actually very similar, funnily enough. Same logic. Anyway, let's take a look at all of our trinkets. They look pretty good there.
Probably because it's hard to truly get the perspective of someone who's never played the puzzle before.
Oh, good. So, we thought we were going to experience the same thing we did at the beginning of the game. In fact, that was very similar to what happened at the cutscene at the beginning. But instead, it's just that all of our shiny trinkets have turned into this giant warp. Which is cool. I think we should just go right on in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, intrepid Captain Viridian. No qualms, let's just go. Well, this was a bad idea. I guess we're just going to suffocate in here. But no, in fact we won't, because as they all realize at the same time, they can combine a talent that they have never used before and will never use again. This is definitely the weirdest thing that happens in the entire game. They can just do this. They're like Voltron, even though they're people. Although, actually, that suggests they might be robots.
True.
So here's Terry Kavanagh misspelling separate, but I'll forgive him for that. Because this section is pretty cool. This is actually, we saw this part of the secret lab before from another part of the world. I don't know if you remember. That was last episode. But yeah, there's all these monitors. They're full of research. Just generic research we can't actually see. So the secret lab, among other things, contains all of the achievements you can get through the game. You know, we got the one for going less than 500 deaths, which is, you know, the bronze trophy. Or maybe even less than that since there's 4. It's like the talc trophy or something. But yeah, you can get trophies for going into the super gravitron, which we're going to see in a minute. There are time trials in this game, which are kind of interesting, but we're not going to be showing them, because it's literally just going through the dungeons in a set time. That special trophy you get for completing the game in no death mode, which is impossible, of course. So yeah, they were trying to fix their dimension, and they know a lot about warp, so apparently having seen all this, we can now fix our home dimension, and theirs. That's the idea. It never actually goes anywhere. This is the end of the plot. So yes, the super gravitron is only for fun. Do not try to use it for education, or you will be punished. By being made to sit in the corner, which is kind of funny, because if you go into the corner, Viridian will frown, like he's being punished. It literally just occurred to me that that's the reason why that works the way it did. It completely stumped me when I went through it originally. Speaking of things I didn't expect, I forgot after going to the Super Gravitron that I'm immortal now. And apparently the Super Gravitron does not change that. So I'm just gonna get tons of trophies in here that I don't deserve at all.
Okay, then.
Isn't this a great way to end a Let's Play?
I mean, that
anyway,
just
everybody.
That just seemed like one way to make you not want easy mode is to give you all the achievements.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of passive-aggressive. Anyway, this has been V, everybody. It's a pretty fun little game. A little overpriced from my perspective, but if you're not as much as a cheapskate, you'll probably think you got a good deal. And it's a lot of fun. It's a really creative, freewheeling game. Definitely worth playing. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, Greg. Do you have any final remarks to make about this game? Nope. Well, we're just gonna stay here in the Super Gravitron then.
I mean, it doesn't look like something I'd play, and I actually have it on my computer. But it does look cool, and I've enjoyed seeing you play it.
We'll leave you with that sentiment. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.